Hi, can I test my audio? See if you guys can hear me okay?
Can you hear the room? Great.
I can hear you, the room. And I can hear you too, Stephen.
Thank you.
Green is yes.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the March 2nd, 2026 meeting of the Transportation Commission. I will start with a roll call. Commissioner Ballard.
Present.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Here.
Commissioner Lancaster.
Present.
Commissioner Steed is not present. Commissioner Hopkins.
Present.
Commissioner Lewis.
Here.
Commissioner Smith is not here yet, or Commissioner, I'm here, Tom Leclerc. Advic Bansal. Oh, good. And our ex officios, do we have Rebecca Phillips with ACHD?
Present.
Oh, well, thank you, Rebecca. Austin Miller with Compass.
Here.
Thank you, Austin. Miranda Carson with West Ada School District. Thank you. Kate Dahl, VRT. Justin Price, ITD.
Here.
Good. Is Sergeant Morgan Carter here? I don't see them.
Present.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Tishra Murray, Legal Department. Brian McClure.
Present.
Okay. And Craig Berman.
Present.
All right, thank you all. The next item is approval of the agenda. On item 1, it looks like the minutes there have a typo, should be February 2, 2026. Let's mention that. Any other additions or concerns with the agenda? Not, I'd entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner, second by Ballard. And all in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, good. Thank you. Then, old business, we have an informational item, staff transportation project tracking.
You going to approve the minutes?
Oh, I skipped it. Wait a minute. Yeah, they're right here. Okay. Sorry. Approval of minutes. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Ballard. Mr. Hopkins. And all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay? Okay, good. Hey, old business, item 2, information staff transportation project tracking with Mr. McClure.
Members of the commission, I don't have anything special or to call out, but I am happy to stand for any questions.
Yeah. I don't think I had any. Any questions for Mr. McClure? Our updates, the packet. Oh, hearing none, we'll move on. Item 3 is use of school flashers during lunch periods. We have Craig Bergman and Diane Bevins. Diane, excuse me.
Mr. Chair,
Hello. Yes.
members of the commission.
Go ahead.
So at discretion of commission last month, we brought somebody from traffic engineering at ACHD to talk about this topic. We have Diane Bevins here,
Oh,
who is going to address most of this topic and kind of go over some of the concerns that were brought up from the commission last time. Just to kind of refresh the commission of what was discussed, we had Aaron Sweeney from West Ada School District come and represent them and explain how they were involved in making this decision. From there, Aaron explained that the system was already in operation compared with the ACHD's decision. And from there, we decided to take commission's pathway forward and bring traffic engineering to cover any other additional questions.
very good. Thank you. Diane, thank you for coming and look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, commissioners. Just to clarify, my name is Diane Bevins. I'm the Deputy Director of our Projects Division. And the 4 departments include planning, right-of-way project management, safety engineering, which traffic engineering is a subgroup of that department, as well as construction and utilities. I just wanted to lay that out because I'm also listed on the next item as well to talk about items during construction. So both of these departments are under my division. And I did go back and listen to last month's meeting for the discussion on the school zone flashers. And I'll just give a little context and then I'll be happy to answer some questions. ASHD responded to a direct request from the Chief of Staff from the City of Meridian for this request. And our understanding, which I won't speak since West Ada School District is here, but that they requested this as well, but ASHD received the request from the City of Meridian. And we reviewed the request, and as stated last month, we coordinated with the West Ada School District, and the decision was made to activate the school zone flashers the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes of the school lunch period. Those are the high times for pedestrians to be crossing at the beginning, at the end of the lunch period. And one of the other items that was brought up last month, I think by Commissioner Lancaster, was why there are school zone flashers at all at high schools. And I'll just address that very quickly. The ITE manual is a guideline, and it is only a recommendation that it only be at elementary and middle schools. But over the years, West Ada School District, again, they request to have the school zone flashers for the best and safe option for those walking to school, and we honor that request. And anything, just like anything else new that we do, we're always open to feedback and making adjustments as needed. So I'm happy to stand for questions.
Ms. Bevins, so the City of Staff, City of Meridian requested what exactly? And when?
The City of Meridian, I don't have the exact dates,
Okay.
but it was right around Christmas time, before Christmas time, requested that the school zone flashers be activated during the school lunch period.
Okay. Any questions, Ms. Bevan? By Commissioner? Commissioner Lancaster?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. What do we call you today? Mr. Fill-in Chairman or Mr.
Chairman's
I
good.
don't, Mr. Chairman, yeah. Yeah, I have expressed some concerns, Diane, over the past couple months, and so I'm glad you're here. And thanks for explaining the current ACHD organization chart, because I have wondered that a little bit. So, in the past, we've had a representative from traffic directly come to this commission, and we haven't had that for whatever reasons ACHD has chosen. But so it sounds like traffic is, I guess, 2 organization levels under your position currently. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess I could have lots of questions for you, but so a request was made. You've reported on that. What kind of, examination or evaluation was made at the highway district to evaluate the request?
Chairman, Commissioner Lancaster, I would say it's more of an internal discussion for an item like this. There's not a formal evaluation or analysis that is complete. Our traffic engineering group is very experienced and has a lot of knowledge, and they would raise a concern if it was against any policy or regulation or a shall statement in any of our documents that we're required to follow.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, if I can follow up with another question.
Yes. Mr. Lancaster.
So does ACHD have a school zone policy? And if so, what is it?
Chairman, Commissioner Lancaster, I am not recalling an official school zone flasher policy, like written within our policy manual specifically. But I'm not saying that there's not, but it is not familiar to me or rising to the top of my head right in this moment. So we would follow MUTCD, ITE, other accepted documents.
Okay, so that's, thank you for that. I've asked that question to a few people over the past, well, over a few years, and that's consistent with the answer that I've gotten in the past, that there isn't a formal one. So I guess to preface my next question, so the MUTCD doesn't get into when to do school zones or how to do them. It's more, if you decide to use a school zone, then these are the signs and markings that you use, right? In the ITE traffic control device handbook that I mentioned last month and that you referenced in your opening statement, you know, it summarizes some research on the topic and gives some recommendations, which, you know, as you pointed out, are guidelines that you can but don't have to follow, right? And that ACHD takes some deviation from that, right? So I guess, how do you evaluate these requests? Is it just, you know, a request is made and, you know, I guess, what do you evaluate the requests against, right? If there's no policy and there's the MUTCD doesn't provide specific guidance of when and where, and, you know, the ITE guidance is viewed as optional, I guess. So, you know, what measure do you evaluate requests by, or is it just whatever request sounds good, right? So I guess, what are the objective measures that you evaluate these requests against?
Commissioner or Chairman, Commissioner Lancaster. Well, I think you read last month that there is, in the ITE manual, at least it does say lunchtime. It does list that as an option for school zone flashers. So we have school zone flashers. That decision's made many, many years ago that we've had school zone flashers at high schools. So since that decision's been made, I think that that's part of the evaluation, that that is an acceptable use of school zone flashers.
Okay. But there's not a specific objective, you know, measure that you evaluate these requests against. It's just as they come in, as requests are made.
Yes, I mean, that's generally how we get a request, especially from a city partner and a school district partner. We take those seriously. We look at them.
Okay.
Mr. Lancaster.
I'm done for the moment, Mr. Chairman. Yeah. And thank you, Diane.
Mhm.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, Mr. Hopkins.
so thanks for coming in and clarifying this. Are we worried about the students leaving at lunchtime, running over students that are walking to lunch? I mean, doesn't look like, I mean, are we having speeding problems in school zones, in high schools at lunchtime? I mean, what are we fixing?
Chairman, Commissioner Hopkins, I don't know that there was a lot of additional context provided to the request. However, for clarification, all of these are on 5-lane arterials. It's not a small side local street. All our high schools and all of these, we have PHBs with school zone flashers. So it's more than just high school lunch traffic on these roadways during the lunch hour. There's a lot of traffic on these roads. And to my understanding, the request was for students walking to lunch and their safety.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Lancaster?
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to hog the microphone if others would like to ask questions too, but I'll keep asking them if as they come up. But
Go ahead.
so Diane, I guess following up on what Tracy had to say, was there a demonstrated crash problem with pedestrians at lunch at any of these high schools in West Ada School District?
To my knowledge, no, there was not.
So what's the problem that we're trying to fix?
I would say please ask the city of Meridian and the West Ada School District, but again, I think well, not just pedestrian crossings, but it's a reasonable request to slow traffic down when there's a high volume of pedestrians in the area adjacent to a school.
I certainly will follow up with some others here at the room. I guess you get the disadvantage of being on the hot seat at the moment, right?
May I ask a question?
Oh, yes, Ms. Bowes.
I was just Commissioner Lancaster, is there a specific concern that you have that you see as an issue or a problem with doing this that we could
Yeah.
look into?
Mr. Chairman
Mr. Lancaster.
and Diane, so good question. There is, so we've seen school zones pop up at high schools in West Ada and Meridian over the past decade or so. It used to be there were none, and then they kind of trickled in one by one. Which, when I read the research and the guidance, it says you generally don't do that at high schools, let alone blanketly do it at high schools. For a variety of reasons. So, a school zone is appropriate for elementary school, particularly. And this comes from, a dad of 6 kids, 2 of which have graduated from high school and 2 that haven't even started high school. So, I've got some experience with kids at school, right? But, the kindergartner that's small and doesn't know how traffic work is very different than, a high schooler. I've got one in my house that's as tall as me, right? That, doesn't quite have the fully formed frontal cortex, at least has some understanding of how traffic works and cars hurt when you get hit by them, right? Further, there's guidance that if there's a protected crossing, like a stop sign or a signal, or in this, in Ada County, at least pedestrian hybrid beacons, that you wouldn't have a school zone at all. So, I look at some of these high schools and we've got a kind of a combination of all these things that the research and guidance basically says not to do. We've got high schools, we've got signalized crossings, and now, and so I question the validity of having a school zone at all, right? And then you add to that a third and fourth period of school zone activity during the day. So, the premise of having the lunchtime school zone is just kind of piled on top of the rest. There's lots of reasons not to do a school zone at all. And, it's like we're doubling down and doing more school zone, not less. So that's a big concern to me. That we're affecting the mobility of, of the roads to solve a problem that doesn't exist. That there's, we haven't heard anybody say that there's, any crashes to try to prevent. So I guess those are my concerns about this practice.
Thank you.
If I may.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point out, I don't know when those studies were done, but I would be curious if they were done before cell phones and smartphones were ubiquitous amongst teens. So kids nowadays, when they're crossing the street, are crossing like this. So their vision is worse than a kindergartner who doesn't even have a smartphone because they're not actually looking at where they're going. We also see increased speeds at peak traffic. The school zones are, shut down. You're moving at 1 mile per hour because you're competing for school traffic. In the middle of the day, there's not that traffic. Cars can just keep going, free flow. And we have an increased number of pedestrians in the middle of the day versus the beginning and the end of the day. Because a lot of students who do drive to campus will leave their cars on campus and walk off to get lunch and walk back on. So if we did pedestrian counts, I am very confident we would find they're higher in the middle of the day. And if we did a speed study, I'm very confident we will find the speeds are higher in the middle of the day. And if we watched kids crossing, I guarantee we will find that the majority of them are not watching. They're watching their smartphones, not where they're crossing. So I don't know if all of those things were factors in the studies that you spoke of, if they were out before cell phones were in every teen's hand, and also if those studies even speak to what a lunch travel looks like, again, at a district that allows off-campus lunches.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Ballard.
I just got to be a Weisenheimer. If they're watching their phones, how do they even know where they're going? Let alone finding their way to lunch and getting back. Just curious. You can strike that if you want.
Well, it's just informational. I guess I have a question for Ms. Bevins and Ms. Carson. This request came from the Chief of Staff of the City of Meridian, not the mayor, not the city council, and not the West Ada School Board. So it seems like kind of an informal process. Did either of you think maybe there needed to be direct communication with the West Ada School Board before this decision was made? I don't know.
Mr. Chair, if I can, I didn't even know that the city had also put in a request. I will say it's not uncommon that we find out that the city and the school district's requests have overlapped. We put in a request, it came from our superintendent, it's trickled down to me and asked, can you look at getting the school zones turned on during the lunch window? They gave a massive lunch window. And from there, I worked with ACHD engineers to pare down the time, talk to school principals. So there was a lot of coordination back and forth between Diane's team and myself before these went into effect.
Okay. I thought there maybe had been. Okay, thank you both for that. Any other questions from our commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any more for Diane. I
Okay.
have some more.
You do? Okay. All right. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you,
so much.
Diane.
And I look forward to hearing from you again.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Ballard.
West Ada School District is not the only district in the state that's doing the same thing. So whether there's a precedent being set or there's policies, decisions being met, there are other school districts, and I'm just reading the headlines. So,
Okay.
Just making an editorial comment.
Helps. That's good. Thanks. Any other commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Hopkins.
there is studies out that say that when you put all these signs and all these markers out, that people just end up ignoring them. It doesn't work to do what we think in our mind. Because you ask somebody after they go through a work zone or something, didn't you see that? And they see so much that they just ignore them. We just got to watch about, like Mr. Lancaster said, we put so many things in a school zone, you're not even looking for kids anymore. Is it the lights on? Is it a school zone? Is it end here? Do we have a hawk signal? It can be a little distracting too.
Mr. Lancaster.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. So you mentioned a second ago, you may have answered one of my questions, but I want to circle back to it. So, Ms. Bevins said that there was a request from the city as well. And you, Mr. Chairman, stated that it came from the mayor's chief of staff. I think I asked the same question last month, where did this request come from the city? And as I recall, the answer was, I don't know. So is that the source of where the city request came from?
So, Mr. Chair, I can at least start that, at least the origination of what I understand it to be. So I did get copied from the mayor's chief of staff, new chief of staff. I don't even know how long she'd been on staff when she actually copied me on that, less than a month. Not making excuses, just saying this is part of that. Hey, remember, you've got a transportation commission that really wants to talk about these things before you go and request this. So that was the first and last, actually, I've heard of this from the city was I got copied on a request. I have to assume though, Kendall didn't just come up with this on her own. Someone from the school district reached out to the mayor's office somehow, maybe even Kendall directly, and reinforced that request with that the school district either was going to make or had already made so that's the origination as far as I can tell though, is mayor's chief of staff. I got copied on that request to ACHD saying we support this. Can you look into turning them on at lunchtime type of a thing? That was in your packet a couple months ago, maybe even 3 months ago at this point. But that's all the information I had on that. Don't know all the, again, all those conversations that led up to getting that email. But I don't think she just composed that out of thin air. There was someone either representing the school district or someone from one of the high schools that brought up this issue and then some coordination going on. So I don't know if Miranda can fill any of those gaps or not, but that's, as far as I know, that's the only one at City Hall that was, in the loop on that request to ACHD.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Caleb. That, I do remember that, staff correspondence that started all this discussion. Mr. Chairman, if I
Yes.
may continue, so
Continue.
I'll set the staff communication aside for a moment, and I want to respond back to Miranda. You know, so the study that I'm most familiar with, done in Texas by Texas Transportation Institute, it is about 20 years old now. I happen to know this researcher, and I asked her in January when I saw her, if she thought the research was still relevant. And she said, yes, the data, the findings are still relevant. This is still the guidance in our industry. So as far as, were cell phones present? Well, probably not to the extent they are now. But what is the purpose of the school zone, right? Is it to be complicit with poor pedestrian behavior? Or is it, what is the purpose of it? So to me, the work zone, as I, mentioned earlier, it's for, the younger students, not for these high school students. So, having a high schooler, having had high schoolers, as a parent, I know that, if an incident happened with one of my pedestrian offspring, and they were, I guess where I'm trying to go with this is we can't penalize all users for the sake of some users that may be exhibiting poor behavior, right? What are we teaching by that, right? That's not the purpose of a school zone. To continue with my thought, if one of my high school age kids were involved in an incident and it was because of their actions, I wouldn't be upset with an agency for not inhibiting traffic, or I wouldn't be upset with the driver involved in the incident. I'd be upset with my offspring that should know better, and they better next time, right? So we can't take away that responsibility of these high school students as well, right? So as far as speeds and volumes, so speeds and volumes only become a problem if there's evidence of incidents, and I haven't heard of any yet, right? So I have a lot of issues with this, and I'll stop there for now, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Mr.
other-
Chair,
Yes.
Jared Smith, Commissioner Smith has joined us online.
Oh, Commissioner Smith is on? Oh, good. Okay. Oh, thank you. And it is about 4 p.m. Okay. Any other comments or concerns on this action, on this item? Oh, action.
Mr. Chair, if I may, and I'm sorry, I don't want this to just be a volleyball match, but I do just want to speak to a couple things on the poor pedestrian behavior. When you talk about turning on school zone lights for kindergartners, you mentioned their size and also just the fact that they're kindergartners. They also have poor pedestrian behavior. So if we take poor pedestrian behavior completely out of the equation, the only thing left is their size that you would turn on the flashers for. But I would also argue that in the last 20 years, the size between humans and vehicles has changed drastically, where 20 years ago, cars probably were more dangerous for a kindergartner, whereas today, a truck can still kill a high schooler. The fact that they are high school students, they're still children. They still don't think. They still have impulse control. But setting aside completely poor pedestrian behavior, they are still in danger 20 years later with the size of vehicles that have changed. So I still think that the study that's 20 years old may not be applicable in this case. And I respect that you called her, and I love, Mr. Lancaster, that you do those things. And all the time I've known you, I know you research, and I appreciate that. But I would say her opinion on whether old data is still good is just as valid as current ACHD's traffic engineer's opinion on the current context in the area they live in.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Lancaster.
this is a concern that I have, that I don't know what ACHD's traffic engineers' opinions are. As I asked the question, there isn't a policy, there isn't guidelines. It seems that everything is taken case by case with no objective measure. So those were some of my questions before.
Mrs. Bevins, come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to respond to that because I think we take every request very seriously, and we, in the absence of the guidelines and the requirements explicitly saying it's not allowed, we tend towards the safest option. And in this case, we can keep volleyballing, but it is allowed. It's just not recommended, but it's not prohibited. So we will lean towards the safest option in most cases. And it is based on years of experience in this valley and on the roads in this valley, and looking at the guidelines. And again, I've worked with most of these engineers. For the record, I'm also a professional engineer, but they say no a lot when the request comes in, if it's against guidelines and not even just guidelines, but just requirements. So.
Commissioner Lancaster, any rebuttal? Okay, thank you. Can't get a formulation. Go ahead. Yes,
Yeah,
Commissioner Lancaster.
Mr. Chairman, I certainly appreciate Miranda being here, and for, other district staff being here last month. I do appreciate Diane being here and for making the presentation and answering my interrogatories. I do appreciate your being here, and I know we're not done with you yet. Mr. Chairman, I am disturbed that, this is yet another instance where the city has made a request, and we find out about it after the fact. That's troubling, because I think the recommendation has been wrong or is wrong. As a result, I would like to suggest that this body, Transportation Commission, exert our authority given to us in the city ordinance and make a formal recommendation to our elected officials in this city regarding this practice, and that this practice of school zones being active at high schools during lunch hours be terminated, that the city make a request of ACHD to terminate that practice. So I'd like to, I guess, request that this body begin to formalize a recommendation to our elected officials to that effect.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Yes. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
It's Commissioner Smith seconds.
No.
No, Mr. Chair, I do not.
Oh, it's Commissioner Lewis.
Yes, that was me.
Sorry. You gotta hear the difference. Okay. Commissioner Lewis seconds. Is there any other discussion about this motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Apologize for joining late, but I think, this is something that actually, as we were leaving the meeting last month, I mentioned to Commissioner Lancaster, I was eager to hear kind of some discussion on this, because from my experience in a policymaking standpoint, this is, school zones. I've never seen school zones really explicitly banned or avoiding the utilization of flashers or school zones and things like that for high schools. And so to be clear, you're not going to find me saying ACHD is great at everything in the world. I think our integrated 5-year work plan process will show you that there's a lot of times where we conflict. But I think this is to what Miranda was saying. I think I'm fully in agreement with her. Just recently, and I know this wasn't a high schooler, but just recently we saw, a child fatality from a low speed crash simply due to the size of a car. Car sizes are very large, and I think there is value in trying to modify pedestrian behavior, but I don't think I don't think it's adequate to say they'll learn if it's dangerous enough. I know that safetyism can be a thing, and I know you'll never get rid of, you'll never be able to fully eliminate all dangers, and you don't want people to think that they live in a bubble. But I think, knowing high schoolers, I don't think it's reasonable to say that simply because we as an advisory body were not consulted on a decision that, in my perspective, is a good decision, that we should formalize some recommendation that the decision be undone. I think that we serve it as an advisory body. I think we as a body continue to want more work, and I think that's worth appreciating. I don't know that there's any I would have loved to have had this discussion before the school zone was put in place, but I don't think that the merit of the school zones at high schools is changed by the fact that this is done after the fact. I don't love that we're getting consulted after the fact, but I don't think that changes the issue on its merit. So I firmly oppose asking city council to change or to seek to change this.
Mr. Chairman, when you call for the vote, I'll abstain.
All right. Any other comments or discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Shoemaker. Yeah.
So I guess I'm a little confused on the motion. Motion is because we don't agree with lights being on during lunch break, or the motion?
We can't hear online if somebody is speaking.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I think Mr. Shoemaker needs to turn on his mic, maybe.
Oh, it's on the mic. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Sorry.
There we go.
Okay.
Sorry. So I guess I'm just confused if there's two things floating around here. One, the issue is the lights are on and we have a problem with that because that's poor driving behavior, whatever. Or two, that the idea was brought up by someone at the city, kicked it over to their friend at ACHD, and it never made its way to the Transportation Commission, which has a school zone subcommittee. So my question is, are we more concerned that we didn't discuss it as a body? Or are we more concerned because maybe it's not needed because there's no data that supports this? So that's where I'm a little lost on the motion.
Maker of the motion.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Shoemaker, thanks for the chance to clarify. I guess I have a concern, which would be we haven't been involved in this, so that's a concern of mine, but I guess the motion for action is to recommend that this practice be terminated. So, yeah, thanks for that clarification.
Mr. Lancaster, that is, what I wrote down was that the school zone flashers being activated during lunch hours is a practice that should be prohibited. Language to that effect.
Mr. Chair,
I know that's,
I
don't know.
would say that it's a
staff needs
practice.
to work that out.
Yeah,
Because we can't do that, but go ahead.
I'd say that it's a practice that, so my motion was I guess, that this body begin to take action to make a recommendation to the city council to make a request to reverse this decision.
Recommend to city council to reverse the decision.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may make
Close.
if I may make a friendly amendment to the motion, I'd like to clarify that this is a reversal for lunchtime flashing at high schools and not at other schools. And the reason I wanted to make that friendly amendment is because there are schools that have kindergarten that are half days. So there is a legitimate purpose of those elementaries to have a midday flasher.
Oh, just in high schools. All right. Yeah.
That's fine with me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Okay. All right. Is there any other questions or comments or discussion about this motion?
I will still abstain from voting.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make another plea, I guess. As far as I can tell, this is was a request and a decision made based little on fact and high on what ifs. Including some mentioned here today. Maybe this is my fault for not asking more poignant questions, but where's the information about number of crossings? Are these students crossing streets, or are they students, parallel to traffic on streets? That's a difference. What are these counts? How many actuations of signals are there? None of that's been presented to us. And so these are all seemingly theoretical, exercises. The assumption is made that it's safer for students if there is school zone flashers present during lunch. So, where there's where these kinds of decisions affect a number of users, both school related, and not vehicle related and pedestrian, we shouldn't be making decisions on what ifs.
Seems like they're going to
On
bring the
assumptions.
request to the council to reverse the decision on lunchtime flashers.
Sorry, what was,
So
someone ask something? What? I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair, that was Tishra Murray from Legal Online.
Oh, Tishra, thank you. I'm sorry. And I just didn't hear it. What was it, Tishra? I don't think she's here.
I'm here. I didn't say anything. It must have just been my microphone.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I thought I was losing my brain. Okay.
So, and Mr. Chairman, I guess to finish, so, you know, I'm not specifically asking that the recommendation be made today, but that we begin the process of, you know, making the formal recommendation. And I strongly advise that, you know, we as a commission take a position to ask that this recommendation from the city and decision by Ada County Highway District be reversed.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, if I can just clarify that, I guess a little bit in the next steps, because this isn't listed as an action item today on the agenda. I think that gives some general direction, and we can bring it back next month, and maybe even things to think about is how you would like that recommendation, if in fact there's a majority of the commission, how you would like that petition to the council to have them ask ACHD to reverse their decision. Is that just a letter? Is that, you know, what form does that take then? How do we petition the council to ask them to ask ACHD to reverse? So don't need to answer that today or right now necessarily, but something to think about is how, yeah, is this a letter? Is someone coming with me to a councilman, you know, meeting to help explain some of that or what? So if you can think about that, maybe just as a point of order, and it's good to know Tishra's there. We have a motion. I didn't hear the second. I was having sidebar. I did hear a friendly.
By Lewis.
Okay, I heard a friendly amendment to the motion. So to move towards then, so next month we would put this as an action item. Is that sort of the clarification on the motion, that it's not actually, we're not actually all the way there yet. It's
Right.
we're moving towards that. Okay, thank you.
As I understand it, Commissioner Lancaster is requesting staff to make this an action item for the commission at our next regular meeting. And I would be in favor of that, just so everyone would know. And so, all right, I think we're ready for a vote if there's no other discussion. Right, all in favor of Commissioner Lancaster's motion to request that an action item be developed that recommends to the city council that the activating of flashers during lunch hours near high schools be no longer supported by the city. That sound pretty good? All right. And so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
3 nays,
And one abstain.
1 abstain. Maybe I better roll call it. So I don't know, I thought I heard 3 nays. All right, let's go through. Commissioner Ballard abstains.
Yes.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Nay.
Commissioner Lancaster.
Aye.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis.
Aye.
Commissioner Smith.
Nay.
And Commissioner Leclerc, yes, aye. So the motion passes.
Eagle.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Added pass. Aye. Oh, aye. Okay. So it still passes. All right. Thank you. All right. And so we'll look forward to that at our April 6th meeting. All right. And that concludes that item. We'll move on to temporary traffic controls. And we have Mr. Hood, Ms. Bevins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. So just a quick recap, very similar to the last item. This has been, was an informational item and staff communications, talked about a little bit last month, and somehow Diane drew the short straw. So she's here again. And maybe just as we transition to this and putting a bow on the last topic for this one, again, I'll reinforce with, our police team, There is turnover at the city. And again, I'm not trying to make excuses for having that process, but just reinforce that we do have a transportation commission at the city and they're hungry for work. So send them things before we do things sort of in a vacuum. So again, I apologize for that and do try to remind folks. And when there's new folks, I just need to be better about trying to reinforce that. So, again, just a quick history, Brian McCarthy and Director Ryan Head were at a joint meeting with the city council here 6, 7, 8 weeks ago now. We played the video for you last month about them kind of explaining their semi-recent practice of installing interim stop signs and speed humps in nearby, I think primarily residential subdivisions. They may be putting them in some commercial applications too, but primarily residential subdivisions that are associated with capital projects. There are some questions. Kelly Bruner tried to answer some of those, but he wasn't as close to it. So again, Diane's here to maybe give you a little bit more explanation for that practice. And yeah, so I'll stand, but I think that tees it back up.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners,
Yes, thank you.
I'm Diane Bevins, Deputy Director Projects at ACHD again. So we had a project a couple of years ago at Lake Hazel and Maple Grove. It was a roundabout that required a full closure at that intersection. And there was a very short and easy cut through around the official detour route. And we were, this was like the first project where we thought, oh my goodness, we should have done something before the closure. We were chasing, being reactive in that situation, listening to the complaints of the neighborhoods on really the northwest corner and southeast corner where the cut through was. So after that experience, we thought we should look at these projects, these big arterial projects that require closures of the roadway or an intersection, and see what those cut through neighborhood roads are, and then be proactive in putting out some temporary stop signs and speed cushions on those cut through routes, with the main point being to discourage the cut through traffic, make it a little bit more painful and uncomfortable. And hopefully they take the signed detour, the official detour route instead. This is in addition to, our road closed signs, our detour signs, we put out signs saying local traffic only. We did a lot already, but this was in addition to that. And I would say the vast majority, if most of the feedback that we get is very positive. We do make adjustments, especially after the first few weeks when everyone's like learning their new routes. We take feedback from the neighborhoods. We add stuff, we move stuff. And that sort of thing. I'm going to look at my notes and make sure that I covered everything. I will say that after the road is fully open, we do remove all of the temporary stop signs. And in some cases, we've been doing a neighborhood survey and seeing if the neighborhood would like to keep the speed cushions, since they're basically a permanent installation. And I don't have the results of our first survey that we did, and that was in the city of Meridian at Eagle and Lake Hazel, but we may be keeping some of the speed cushions permanently. So I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions from commissioners? Mr. Hawkins?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Thanks for coming up again. So I live in Sky Mesa. And so you guys did quite a bit of that in that area. Well, when you come in and you change the traffic pattern and trying to get people to stop, which they don't, because the stop sign suddenly is there, and so you get people complain. I mean, I see it on Nextdoor every single day that people are running the stop sign. In fact, the guy's filming these cars running the stop sign. Well, then when you take them away, and I got caught, almost got hit because I assumed it was a four-way stop still, and all of a sudden it's gone. And so I had to make sure that I told my family, hey, when you got to pay attention, because some stop signs they pulled out, some stop signs they didn't. And so it creates people into bad habits, and it does cause problems. So anyway, I don't like it.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Ms. Bivens? Commissioner Lancaster.
Mr. Chairman. So what kinds of complaints were made before this practice was started?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Lancaster, increased volumes and cut through traffic, people not taking the signed and official detour route, and speeding.
This is probably a silly question, but so how does, let me see. So the practice that's been instituted then is additional stop signs and traffic control measures like speed cushions. Is that, did I understand that part right?
Yes.
Okay. So so this is my silly question, but how do those practices address those concerns? The concerns that are made?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Lancaster, if you're looking for a shortcut and you have to slow down for each speed cushion and obey each stop sign, then it may not be a shorter route. And so like I said before, it is to discourage people from taking maybe a shorter route as opposed to the official detour route.
So is it normal ACHD practice to make roads less desirable?
Commissioner Lancaster, I think during construction for a major arterial closure of a roadway or intersection, we have broad discretion in how to manage that issue that the project is creating.
Mr. Chair?
Yes. Thank you.
I guess I come from the school of thought that, you know, the least restrictive traffic control device is the best unless, you know, there's a real demonstrated reason otherwise. So I guess I have some concern that, you know, there's some work going on at a temporary traffic control zone, for instance, that, you know, makes some piece of the network less usable than usual, right? And then there's which, you know, is unavoidable to some extent, right? You have to do the work somewhere, right? My concern is that it seems that there's then on top of that, an intentional, you know, deliberate attempt to make roads in the vicinity also impacted, and which, you know, grates against my, again, the school of thought that the least restrictive traffic control device is the most desirable, right? I guess I'm trying to get to a question. I'm not sure what my question is, but, you know, so what, I guess this is my question. So what, I guess where in the highway district, that's not necessarily my question. So how is that decision made as far as where to place these stop signs and speed cushions or the traffic, I'm sorry, the traffic calming devices? You know, how is that decided?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Lancaster, I think I mentioned already that we look at where the closure is going to be and what are the local road and potentially collector, but a lot of local road cut through. So we're looking at okay, if someone wants to avoid the intersection of Ustick and Black Hat, where might they go? And working, and we generally follow our speed cushion guidelines that we already have in our policy about not putting them in front of driveways and having enough spacing and that sort of thing as well. But it is really just looking at, and initially when we look at that before construction starts, I'd say there's probably a minimal amount of those out in the neighborhoods, and vast majority, more than 50%. The neighborhoods expect us now, especially, but even before we were doing this, when there's cut through and speeding, they come to us and ask us to fix it because we're causing the temporary issue. So it's a very popular method for dealing with these closures and potential cut through traffic. And often we get requests to add more during the duration of the closure as we go on.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Lancaster.
So is the highway district just encouraging then or enabling, I guess, a NIMBY behavior, not in my backyard, except in this case, I guess it'd be front yard? You know, I guess again, with my perspective of least restrictive traffic control device being the best, you know, if I guess the flip side of that is, you know, my personal acceptance that there may be more traffic in front of my house sometimes if there's work in the vicinity, right? So, you know, the question being is the highway district just enabling some, you know, not in my front yard behavior by doing this?
Evan?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Lancaster, my opinion is no, because I said these are very specific long duration arterial intersection or roadway closures that frankly people are ignoring the detour route and using a different route. This isn't their neighborhood. They're not using it to get to their home. They're using it to cut through and otherwise would take the road that's closed. So, I mean, in our opinion, the person that's cutting through is ignoring the traffic control and ignoring the detour route, which would be the least impactful thing to do, but people don't do that.
Mr. Chairman.
Yep, Mr. Hopkins.
I've sat on this commission for lots of years and I've seen people come in because they've had cut through problems in their neighborhood. No construction caused cut throughs, but cut throughs. And it was like pulling teeth to get ACHD to give them the time of day to fix cut through problems. Has policy changed drastically on putting speed bumps in? Because not only are you putting them in temporary, you're leaving them where they're at. In a lot of cases, at least everyone that's in my neighborhood stayed. So did policy change?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner.
It's their ordinance. You're looking for a different adjective, a different noun as to policy is their ordinance. That's their guidelines. Different term.
Guideline. Okay, yeah, Ms. Bevins, sorry.
Commissioner Hopkins, we do have a policy on traffic calming and it is required to meet certain speed and volume requirements. That is correct, and that has not changed. Again, this application is temporary, and I know that we are talking about keeping them if the neighborhood has support, and we're applying the same 60% support here that we are. And part of that is there's a cost to removing them, potentially cutting the asphalt and repaving it and leaving trenches and that sort of thing. But initially, the idea was that these would be temporary.
Mr. Chair. Sorry, Commissioner Lewis has had his hand raised.
Oh,
Would
I'm
like to make
sorry,
a comment.
can't see that.
That's
Yes,
okay.
please,
Commissioner
Mr.
Lewis.
Chairman.
Mr.
So I live near the almost complete U-stick project between Black Cat and 10 Mile, and I experienced this type of of traffic control on Moon Lake Drive, which is a parallel east-west neighborhood collector near me. And so I've seen the speed cushions and I've seen the always stops installed. I I have less of a problem with the speed cushions. I know ACHD has a policy that was changed last year on the speed cushions. I am more concerned about the always stops that are being installed. There on Moon Lake in particular, there were two intersections that I drove through on a regular basis that had the always stops installed. And I'm very concerned about that because I believe they are unwarranted stop signs, and I believe that they're being used for speed control, which is specifically prohibited in the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, the MUTCD. In the 2009 manual, it was a should not condition using stop signs for speed control. In the 11th edition, which was adopted by the state of Idaho last year, it's a shall not condition. So using stop signs for speed control is expressly prohibited in Idaho code now. And I think that, well, the primary reason is likely because having unwarranted stop signs breeds a driver disrespect for those traffic control devices, which opens a big can of worms. But on a practical level, installing a traffic control device that is specifically prohibited puts the city and the highway district at great liability if there were a crash. It was mentioned before in this meeting that there was recently a low-speed turning crash in Boise that resulted in a fatality. So it doesn't take high speeds to do this. And I would also argue that these unwarranted stop signs have very, very low compliance. I would bet that if you went out and observed people at these always stops, I would bet that most of them are rolling through them at a reasonable rate of speed. So that's my objection, Mr. Chairman, to the always stop installations.
Any response, Ms. Bevins?
Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Lewis, we are not using them for speed control. I do understand that it is a shell condition in the MUTCD, but I think I said earlier, it's just a way to make the cut through not so easy or short or desirable as a cut through option. We have gotten that feedback about compliance, and we have worked with City of Meridian Police, for example, to do some patrols, but as you know, there's compliance when they're there doing that, and then when they leave, people go back to their habits. But overall, we've seen a positive impact on the use, and again, it's a temporary installation during construction, not a permanent installation, and for both, and we've seen mostly positive feedback from the neighborhoods.
Commissioners have any other questions for Ms. Bevins about this? I have one. So when a project is budgeted, is there a line item for this type of signage and speed bumps? What are the costs planned for in advance, or are these add-ons that slow down the project?
Mr. Commissioner, or Mr. Chairman, these are considered as part of the project cost and built into the plans for the bid.
Is this, would you say this is a factor contributing to increased costs in finishing these projects, or do you think obviously is it significant? Is it a big part of what the project might cost to implement these and then take out the speed bumps later? That's all in the same project, right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
that's correct. I'd say it's a very small percentage of the overall project cost.
Okay. I was curious about that. Any others?
Mr.
Chair
Chairman,
Lancaster.
another question for Diane. You said earlier that the additional stop signs are removed after the work is finished and that the speed humps are, speed tables, sorry, are removed unless, you know, there's the process for the neighborhood to keep them essentially. Did I understand that right? I guess, can you confirm that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any others?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Hopkins.
could you just refresh my memory on what the guidance is for speed humps being put in the first place? Like if I was living in a regular neighborhood and some people were cutting through and I had called ACHD and said, hey, I need speed calming. What's your guidance for doing that?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Hopkins, I can look it up for you, but I don't have it off the top of my head.
Okay. If you could maybe follow up with us on that. So it'd be good for all of us to be aware of that, because we get requests all the time here. Any other thoughts, questions? Any direction for staff? Mr. Lancaster.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. And I am done with Diane. If
Thank you, Diane.
want to get off the hot seat, thank you, Diane. But I'm not asking for any formal action on this, Mr. Chairman, but I do think that this is a good topic for us to continue. You know, we've certainly heard some benefits to this, but there's some, I can't take my engineer hat off, right? And I have engineering concerns about this still. And so I would like this to be a topic to continue into the future, I guess, is the short version without any formal motion. How about that?
Okay, I think we can do that. Can we take this up again?
So, Mr. Chair, that was going to be my question, is where you just pause, like we can put on next month, or just leave it at future meeting topics when you give us a month's notice and we can add it to the following month, or how, yeah.
What do you think?
Mr. Chairman, if we can just keep it as old business, I guess.
Whole business on next month's agenda. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm sorry, what? Yes? Ms. Bevins, thank you. Any other hands?
Mr. Chairman, I can share the parameters of our traffic calming policy if you'd like.
Thank you, yeah.
And it's a one-page little summary, so I will make sure to email it to all of you as well.
Great, thank you.
Okay. So the initial eligibility that we look at when we get the request before we ever go out in the field is a residential street over 750 feet long with a speed limit of 30 miles an hour or less. Minimum traffic, 400 vehicles per day, and a maximum traffic of 4,000. So anything under 400, it would be a no. Anything over 4,000 would be a no right off the bat. So then we do the traffic investigation. And for local roads, over 100, it would qualify if over 100 vehicles, if you have that many vehicles in a weekday peak hour, 15% of vehicles going over 28 miles an hour, 5% going over 32 miles an hour. So it'll be much easier when you can read it for yourself. But just giving you the highlights here. For collector roads, it's over 300 vehicles during the weekday peak hour, and then 15% of vehicles going 33 miles an hour or more, 5% going 36 miles an hour or more. And then you have to do the neighborhood survey, and that's the important part. And we've lowered that percentage, but it's still 60% of the people that live on that street say yes, and then we install the speed cushions.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Mr. Hopkins.
So did you say people that live, 60% of the people that live on that street?
Yes. It says nearby households, but, oh yeah, local streets directly next, fronting the street, collectors are, because a lot of collectors actually don't necessarily have front-on housing, so it'd be next to the street or the ones that rely on it for access.
Thank you.
That's very good. Any other thoughts or comments about this item? Nope, right. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is a Stratford to Touchmark feasibility study. And we have Carl. Or someone. Oh, there's Carl.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. My name is Carl Anderson, Long Range Associate Planner here with the City of Meridian. We're just a moment here while we pull up the presentation for you tonight. But tonight what I'll go over, you may recall I was here before you October 6th of 2025, providing an update to the commission on the Stratford to Touchmark feasibility study. For some discussion, and tonight want to follow up and circle back on and just provide the commission with an update on the report.
Okay.
So with that, excuse me. So I'll just provide a brief overview of the project, just a quick refresher on our study area and just a refresher on the project's goals. We'll talk about the alternative concept selections, a summary of the report's findings and council direction, and discuss potential next steps. Just would like to remind the commission that we did also send the final white paper and technical memorandum to the commission as well, so you should have that as well. That is the corrected version that included some corrections from the version that was presented to council on January 27th. So things like correcting the title of the concept B and so forth. So here before you have the overall expanded project area going from Meridian Road to Touchmark. And our focus area being Stratford to Eagle Road as the identified focus area. You may recall during our discussion in October and part of the comprehensive plan work during the from the My Meridian specific area planning work, a lot of the focus area was really this section between Locust Grove Road and Eagle Road, and providing potential alignments through that comprehensive work there. One of the things we wanted to do when we got into this project was to zoom out a little bit and look both east and west to some extent of the project area. As we got into the work. So that's part of the reasoning for our expanding our focus area there. So overview of our project's goals. So we really wanted to work to develop a realistic and coordinated approach to improving transportation connectivity within this key area of the city. We're looking to reduce pressure on the arterial network and reduce cut-through traffic on local roads, improve emergency response times, enhance quality of life, and support continued economic development, including future water and sewer extensions needed to address public health environmental considerations as development continues to occur. So there are still county enclaves within the area that are on well and septic with some of the goal of looking at what does this look like to extend utility to these areas at some point in the future as development occurs. Just a quick project summary. So as we discussed, the city did select Kittleson and Associates along with their consultant Logan Simpson to work on the project beginning on July 31st, 2025 was project kickoff. A little bit of background, Logan Simpson and worked with the city on the comprehensive plan update for the city as well as Kittleson and Associates as well. This project was broken up into 4 tasks. So primarily project management, plan review and transportation systems inventory, inclusive of land use analysis, stakeholder outreach and concept development and the white paper development. Concept development and white paper development being kind of some of those 2 key deliverables from this project. This project was wrapped up in January of 2026 and the findings were presented to council on January 27th. Council directed staff to prioritize concept D, which I will go over with you, and continued consideration given to concept D. As part of the work, as previously mentioned, we did conduct some stakeholder engagement and also with consideration to prior work from the comprehensive plan. There are some known challenges in the area that were identified here. So for example, circuitous routing to Meridian Road from Stratford, provided it's circuitous getting from Meridian to Stratford and through the project area. Intersections near a curve there where Stratford and Central meet, concerns about speeds and school traffic along Central, aging well and septic systems, long queues for Eagle Road on-ramp and so forth. And next slide, please. So with that, our consultant developed 5 alternative concepts to consider for potential collector alignment, in addition to identifying some of those known challenges and some of the land use analysis that went into this work. Of those initial 5 concepts, we carried 3 forward for further evaluations, which are these 3 that are all shown here for you. Concept C, D, and E. Concept C being the central alignment, with D being the comprehensive plan alignment, and E being IA-84 frontage. Concept D was most similar when looking from Locust to Eagle from the same concept from the comprehensive plan work from my Meridian specific area plan that scored the highest there as well. You'll notice here on concept D, which is kind of this brown gold color, if you will, more straight through the Locust View Heights area. That's north of Wells Circle and south of the creek there as well. Just to draw your attention to that. This does follow a little bit of a transit system map type of philosophy. You'll notice where some of these concepts follow the same routes and some vary, and their routes, solid lines typically indicate there's existing right-of-way or roadway at that location, with dotted lines indicating that there would need to be a new roadway.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can we go back?
Sure.
So we have those 3 dotted lines, or 4. So this talks about C, D, and E. So the purple one goes Cadillac Drive. Is that D?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. So for purple, for example, is C. If you look at the legend down at the bottom, it kind of has the colors there for you. So purple being alignment C, E being the kind of this gold brown, and E being this pink-ish color. This also shows alternative alignments as well. This is as the concepts are in their initial alignment phase as well. So this isn't the exact final concepts, but this is a way to illustrate all the concepts that were being considered. And if you reference the white paper and technical memorandum as well, you'll see the initial version of all the alignments as well.
Okay, thanks.
So with that, based on the comparative analysis from the report and the work from the report as well, staff did recommend prioritizing the concepts in order of D, E, and C, with concept D being the comprehensive plan extension, again, being the one that also aligned with the My Meridian specific area plan to the most extent as well. It's the most direct east-west connection between Central Drive and Wells Street, provides greater opportunity for large-scale redevelopment through parcel assembly, greater construction challenges than concept C due to the need for substantial new roadway connection. So here, if we could back up, please. So here too, I will just draw to your attention. It does come in kind of where that concept E on the prior slide came in at Wells Circle at this point. And we'll have some discussion just about discussion with council and where we are today with some of that alignment considerations there. Of note here, the future land use map for this city of Meridian between Locust Grove and Wells Street for a good portion of this area is mixed use neighborhood. More near Locust, it's going to be commercial. and just want to draw that to your attention as well. So summary of potential next steps. So with one of the intentions of this project is for the future east-west collector alignment is to work with ACHD to have that updated collector alignment on the ACHD master street map. So that's one of the very first things that we've been tasked to do is work with ACHD to get this on the master street map. City staff have sent a memo or a letter of request to ACHD to update the master street map with collector alignment between Locust and Eagle for this section. And we'll talk through some of that as well. But as part of the study, there were also other next steps that the city may undertake, either specific between Locust and Eagle or other areas of the project as well, and just would harken back to the known challenges that were identified as part of this project. If there are other elements too that this city would like to pursue, there are certainly other areas of exploration as well. But further stakeholder engagement and land use and redevelopment analysis, and some of those things are anticipated as any future land use map amendments are carried forward at some time in the future, and so on and so forth. So here you'll see, as part of the discussion with Council on January 27th, and also staff's coordination with ACHD that Caleb Hood may be able to speak to here as well. Staff have kind of taken a little bit further looking at, if you'll recall, the alternative alignments C, D, and E showing north of Wells Circle here. We are proposing to bring the collector north of Wells Circle and south of the creek there across Wells, and then coming in a more direct route, trying to deal with that kink that you have down there at Freeway Drive and Wells, trying to provide a more direct, efficient route to move folks through the area. So it doesn't show up well on the map here, but you'll notice some of these areas, there's a gray hatch underneath there. So really this section moving east of Locust Grove and about south of, I believe it's Magic View, is where the request is. Those other areas that are already red without the gray underline are already on the existing ACHD master street map. So, and with that, happy to stand for any questions that the commission may have. And just backing up on that, we will be attending ACHD's workshop this Wednesday, actually, to start those discussions with the ACHD commission, and have been working with their staff on that.
Are there questions from commission regarding the presentation?
So, Mr. Chairman,
Ballard.
what are we being? I appreciate the presentation and the information. This project's been in the works for many, many years. So what is it that you're asking us to do today? Go forward and prosper, or I like the idea, so I'm just curious what it is that you would like us to respond to.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Ballard. Just backing up a little bit to our October meeting, we came to you for some direction, and wanted to come back and make sure that we're closing that loop with the commission, as well as provide an update on where we're at with the report. And certainly, I think, as you'll notice with that request that we have with the master street map, we're really still looking at a portion of that for this portion, but there are other areas that were identified on the known challenges map as well. So I think if there are feedback or other areas that the commission feel that staff could prioritize for future projects, or maybe do some more work on, I think feedback on those areas may be helpful. And then, if there's feedback on the alignments, looking at the proposed MSM, I think staff are open to that feedback as well. And Caleb, I don't know if you have anything you'd like to add there.
I wasn't gonna speak, but Mr. Chair, maybe just to add, Commissioner Ballard, I think Carl covered it well. No necessarily an explicit request of the commission today. I would have you even though look either at both alignments that council preferred. D was their primary one, but E in the longer term, that one for staff is like, I don't know how we're gonna make that work. So if you have any brilliant ideas about how we're gonna get a frontage backage road next to I-84, that's one we really struggle with making, even though council's like, it's longer term and for preservation purposes, it really is constrained. And I don't know how we're going to do that, but I get kind of the idea and why council wants to preserve something like that over time. But just, that's why, one of the reasons we're not asking ACHD to add that to the master street map at the same time is because the feasibility of that is even more iffy in my head. So if you have any thoughts, ideas, recommendations on that, there's one I would just throw out there today. But again, not necessarily an action item. Wanted to close the loop with you, as Carl said. But we'll take other feedback and you know, this has been a hot spot for the city for decades now, traffic in here. So wanted to, again, just keep you up to speed on things that are happening in this section.
Ask one other question.
Yes, Commissioner Ballard.
Well, Mr. Bergman, if, I can't tell you which slide it was on, but I think it was the second to the last. Where you had, okay.
Yep.
North of Franklin and Springwood, you have a little chunk of red. What does that mean?
Springwood, oh, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Ballard. This is just a zoomed in version of the map here. I believe that's probably the southern extent of another identified collector on the ACHD master street map. I can also look in the report and see if it's there, or I could pull up the ACHD master street map to see where that network extends.
I'll jump ahead and I'll tell you my bias. If that red is a target area, I'm in the bullseye.
Fair enough. And I will say, you know, part of our work, we're not looking north of Franklin for this project. It's likely already on the ACHD master street map and identified there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Lancaster.
Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Well, it just occurs to me, this latest version that is being discussed, I guess, Wednesday, is better. That there were several little intersections when we looked at this, and I've been thinking about this, and is it worthwhile to suggest that we have roundabouts added as sort of a traffic smoothing on this arterial? Seems like the less stopping we do, the better, or stoplights, and maybe that would help with future traffic flow. And then any developments that come in adjacent to these intersection locations, we'd ask that there be right of way allowed for a roundabout or an extended or an enhanced intersection. Are those just routine? And maybe I'm bringing up something we do already, but that's my question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there's one roundabout that's identified on Locust and Central here within. We at this time haven't requested roundabouts specifically, and either Craig or Caleb could correct me if I'm wrong. I believe we did request some look at intersection along Wells and Freeway, but I don't know that we've looked at further other intersection improvements. It's known that there's intersection work that needs to be done. The study didn't go so far as to do the engineering work and so forth on intersection improvements. More identify that additional intersection work may be needed, and I think that's something that we could accomplish with our partner agencies.
Okay. That sounds right. Okay. All right. So, and then that jog that's being considered, that may be another opportunity maybe for a roundabout. There's three roads coming together there, and you've got the creek, and to allow the traffic to just roll around in a circle might be easier than trying to jog around the creek. Engineers have to look at these things, I know, but so if just some feedback and suggestions are asked of us today at the, maybe another commissioner could tell me I'm crazy, but if that seems reasonable, we could maybe give that feedback. So that's my thought. And then Commissioner Lancaster, did you have something else?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, and I'm not going to call you crazy either.
Okay.
At least not yet. Um, I guess my only comment was, I appreciate the presentation. It helped flesh out some of the questions that were developing in my mind as I skimmed through the long documents that you sent us. I found the summary of recommendations extremely underwhelming when I read it. So your ranking of DEC was most helpful. It is an interesting study. So I appreciate the presentation on it. Oh, I should have some probing question for you now. You feel left out if I don't.
All right, Commissioner Lancaster, you don't?
I'm done, Mr.
Oh,
Chair.
I see. All right.
I've got one
Commissioner
more.
Ballard. Yeah.
Mr. Anderson, so when you come out on Allen, on the east end of your map there, and maybe it's not part of your project, but are there plans to widen that? Because at right about now, between Franklin and that intersection to get onto the freeway, that's bumper to bumper. So how are you gonna move cars off of Allen if they want to go right? So
Right.
I'm assuming, and maybe in the back of there, there's another lane to be added to get to the interstate, even if it is a lane that goes onto the interstate that's not controlled by a light. I'm just kind of, because that's a giant bottleneck even right now.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, maybe I'll attempt to answer that question a little bit. So, Commissioner Ballard, as you know, Allen Street is restricted there where you can only turn right, eastbound to southbound, Allen onto Eagle Road. Something like that could be potentially designed. We are gearing up now that the Linda Road overpass is in construction. And by the way, I'll circle back on 5-year work plan stuff. But ACHD was good with, and the council's good with taking the Linda Road overpass off of our priority list. So just to circle back, and we'll talk more about that later. But we're already gearing up and putting together some talking points to work with ITD on rebuilding the Eagle Road interchange. So at that point, that's when you're going to be looking at, some different lane configurations, intersection improvements, and what you're going to do. And that's why even that freeway drive and the frontage backage road I was talking about, maybe there's opportunity there to not have people go to Allen. Some can, right? If you're at the McDonald's or whatever. But to really use another way to fly on or fly off of I-84, those types of things. But it's going to be an innovative design. There's not a whole lot today you can do, right? Unless you put dual rights onto Eagle Road, and that would never work. I see people, any gap in traffic, and they're getting, so 2 lanes doing that would be tough to imagine anyways. I will just take this opportunity real quick to say, I think this line work though is really meant to highlight not so much that turning movement southbound Eagle Road, but if you're northbound on Eagle or coming into this area off of Eagle Road, really using Allen Freeway as the entrance into this section. And that's really what this line work is trying to say, is that signal there at St. Luke's Drive, using that and getting more of that traffic and showing preferential treatment to then that north-south street, which is Allen, instead of the east-west Allen. So Magic View, I didn't say that very well, and sorry, I can't point, but anyways, using the colors on this map as really where we envision most of the traffic going, instead of the driveway there by the taco place and McDonald's and Chevron.
Right. No, I appreciate that, because this topic, you and I were on a task force 10 years ago, looking at something like this. And so I applaud this, and get her done.
Any other comments? I'm looking at Jared and Stephen. It's all right. Anybody else wants to provide feedback on this or comments? All right, thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Commissioner Lancaster.
I'm gonna So this is a very theoretical question here, okay? So let's pretend for a moment, looking way forward, that Eagle Interchange is rebuilt. And access to Allen St. Luke's Drive, I think it's called, there's no access to it from Eagle Road. Let's say it's grade separated. This is when there's intersections very close to interchanges, it's advantageous to remove that access, right? So how would any of these, how would concept D work with that scenario? Or any of them, I guess, because they all access through that intersection.
Yeah, I'll start this one as well, and we haven't thought that through all the way, but I do see there's some real potential that at least is an alternative that's discussed as you look at a redesigned, rebuilt Eagle Road interchange. I think a couple of things I would share. One, this study really was one of the reasons was trying to establish an additional access point into this section, especially for like EMS, but also for others. So that kind of going the other way with something like that and limiting that access. I think you would still want to have some access locally towards Eagle Road, but I will say that a lot of the neighbors in there, at least those that have reached out to the city thus far, are good with not having direct access to Eagle Road. So that situation, they may actually be a proponent of, and at least in theory, since that's the world we're talking about right now, they're good with going around the block. So, I would want to consult EMS and just make sure, especially with the hospital being right there, someone has, something going on here and they have to go all the way through Locust Grove, Franklin, and then Franklin Eagle to get to the hospital, which you can see. But in theory, I think that is of something that needs to be discussed anyways. And the business impacts would also need to be evaluated. I mean, I could still see right in, right out probably. But you're right, that intersection is fairly close to, an on-ramp to I-84 westbound.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, I will say that I have not contemplated future redevelopment of the interstate and its impact on this access point. But I would just like to highlight one of the impetus for the project was really the idea of connecting education with some of the momentum with ISU, ICOM, West Ada School District and so forth, and St. Luke's campus and some of the other medical institutions that we have there, and really kind of that med tech corridor, if you will. And I think that's some of the work that informed some of the comprehensive plan work when some of the area was amended on the comp plan, looking at for mixed use neighborhood and commercial and so forth. So it's contemplated to provide that connection between those two areas. And also, again, just to reiterate, to reduce some of the pressure on the arterials in the network and improve that connectivity. So just would like to highlight that as well.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Lancaster.
I will second that thought that, connectivity through Meridian except on arterials is difficult, right? So, alleviating some demand on arterials is a solid objective.
All right. Any other thoughts or comments on this? I don't see any. All right, well, thank you very much. And we are now ready for ex officio updates as we have them. And I see Mr. Miller's over there, ready to go. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. The last, I believe, 2, maybe 3 months, a couple times now, I have talked about our high capacity transit planning and environmental linkages study. That study has actually recently been accepted by the Compass Board of Directors a week ago. What that plan was looking at was potential high capacity transit. What could that look like for the region? What are the pros, cons, locations, potential stops? Things like that. So just to follow up on my past conversations, like I mentioned, that has been accepted by the Compass Board. And it also actually pivots nicely to some additional handouts that I'll pass to Commissioner Bonsall to share with you all. We do have an education series event coming up next week. So with things like the Pell, we were talking about potential interstate freeway widening. We have the State Highway 16 project, new freeways coming into our valley. In our high growth region, we have all of these different transportation projects that we're trying to do, and really large transformative ones. Idaho is great in many ways. One thing Idaho is not is really the most progressive state. We don't like to try new things, not knowing exactly how they may play out. We don't want to throw our money behind the unknown. So what we like to do is let others try it first, learn from any potential successes or mistakes they run into along the way, and try to take the best of that and carry it forward. So for this example, or for this education series, we're doing just that. We are bringing in Patrick Stone, who is a staffer at the Maricopa Council of Governments, which is the metropolitan planning organization, essentially the compass for Phoenix, Arizona. And they have done those transformative transportation projects using funding sources that aren't currently available to us here. So we wanted to bring in Patrick, have a conversation with him to learn what has Phoenix and the Phoenix area learned, what are the value, what are the benefits, what are the cons, maybe something they wouldn't redo if they could go back in time on some of these transportation investments they've made. So hopefully we can learn from what they have done and use that to inform our direction moving forward for here in the Treasure Valley. So I will pass out handouts with information on that. Ultimately, there is an afternoon session, March 11th, so next Wednesday from 6 to 8. And then there is also sort of a midday, a little bit more hands-on workshop planned for next Thursday, March 12th, and that'll go from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Certainly, any of the members of the commission are invited. We would love to have you, as well as City of Meridian or ACHD staff. Love to have you all as well. Another thing we're working on, I don't have numbers to share with you all, but in conversation with different members of Meridian staff within the last week, and then certainly we'll be meeting with Brian McClure here in the next 7 to 10 days. We're doing our annual population estimate. So I did just want to reach out, one, make you aware that that is a service Compass provides. We do this annually. And then two, really take the opportunity to thank City of Meridian staff, both the building department and the planning department. We would not be able to do this each year. So really appreciate their support, and we should have those numbers here in a couple weeks' time, and we'll be sharing them with staff. So with that, I will stand for any questions.
Have any questions for Austin?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And then Miranda is gone. And Justin Price, ITD.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do not have anything for today. I appreciate the discussion earlier with ACHD and the school district. I thought it was very good. Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome, Justin.
Yes. And is Tishma Murray with legal still here?
Mr. Chair, she has jumped off.
Okay, thank you. And then, do we have any others? ACHD. Oh, ACHD, I'm sorry. Rebecca, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Rebecca Phillips with ACHD.
I will be with you guys as your liaison here for this committee for the foreseeable future and maybe until we get a new planning supervisor. But just a little history, I've been with ACHD for 5 years, been in this planning role for the past 3. I currently work on the 5-year plan and concept studies, as well as our annual scoping effort. And I'm also putting together the regional deconfliction map. So you guys might have heard about that. That's kind of a project we have in the background. It's in the making. But as for updates, I wasn't prepared to give updates, but that's awesome that we get the ability to do so. You guys may know we do have the 5-year plan rolling as we speak. So we've been working close with your planning staff on their priority list. And so those are actually due on March 18th. So we look forward to seeing the city's project priorities this year. Additionally, I was taking a look at some of our other planner schedules. We do have the Locust Grove concept PIM that's going to be happening this Wednesday evening at Chief Joseph Elementary. So that's going on with our planner, Ely. He's the project manager on that. And besides that, thank you for having me. Looking forward to coming here on behalf of ACHD.
Right. Thank you very much and welcome to our group.
Mr. Chairman,
Comments? Yeah, Mr. Lancaster.
I wonder if you have an important update. Is there a baby Kelly now?
Oh,
I actually have not heard that yet, so I'm not sure, but I will make sure that I bring that information with me next time.
Mr. Chair,
nice.
I am in a very competitive fantasy basketball league with the elder Mr. Bruner at this point. And yes, can confirm everyone is doing well and healthy.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Lewis.
I was interested in Rebecca's report of the Locust Grove PIM that's going on right now. I did see the emails come out about it. I know that project has been under discussion for quite a while, the whole 4-lane versus 3-lane back and forth quite a bit. I was wondering if perhaps after the public involvement period ends, perhaps we could ask for a report on the results of that public involvement polling and what the public likes and doesn't like about the options presented.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, thank you. Absolutely. I will get with Ely. Likely the consultant will put together a comment matrix and I'll see about sending that to Meridian staff.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Commissioner Lewis. Any others? All right. Do we have any other ex officio? All right. So we have next is our future meeting topics. We've had a few items added today.
About staff communication.
Oh, sorry. I'm skipping.
Number 7.
You know, we are running up to our deadline here too, but staff communications, maybe a quick cover.
Mr. Chair, Mr. McClure had to step out, but 2 in there. If you have any questions, I think I'm pretty familiar with them. They seem pretty straightforward this month, but there are 2 series in your packet.
Okay. Any questions by commissioners about the communications we see? Hearing none. Move on. And so, are there any other comments about future meeting topics?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hopkins.
We've mentioned a couple times today about somebody getting hit on Ustick Road.
Oh.
So that brings up a topic that I'm anxious to talk about: electric bikes and electric scooters.
Okay.
I don't think the people riding them know there's rules to the road.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I will
Mr.
echo
Allen.
those comments because in my legal readings, we now have statistics. We now have cases. It's demonstrated that they are a risk that was not anticipated. And how do we deal with it? So I think it's a worthwhile conversation, especially when I can see a guy on a scooter, pitch black, going down the road, 4-lane road, 5-lane road, swerving in and out of traffic. And I'm supposed to figure out that he's there.
Yeah. All right, very good. We'll put that on there.
Mr. Chair, I
Yes.
would, just a little bit of a finer point on future meeting topic, item number 13. So I did catch Diane earlier before the meeting started,
Yes.
and I don't know for certain that she'll have something to report out in April, but April, May.
Okay.
Someone from ACHD, likely Diane again, but someone from ACHD will likely come back and do some version of a report out on that request that Woodbridge, again, this was in your packet last month. Same neighborhood that Carl was just the study there, but we'll put that as a an action item, a new business item here, likely next month, to get some more information from ACHD on those requests. And then 12 as well. I mentioned it earlier. I am back at council tomorrow.
Yeah.
So they had some feedback, they didn't really make any decisions. We lived in the top 8. I mentioned earlier about Linder Road. They want to move, this is kind of cool. They want to move the completed projects to the top of the list, instead of to the bottom as remove. So, hey, here's the things that were accomplished last year. I'll give you more of an update here in the future, but ICHG 5-year plan will probably be on old business next month as well.
The council will discuss the projects list tomorrow.
Hopefully there's direction on any modifications. They talked about Locust Grove quite a bit. And Meridian, that kind of conversation that you guys had.
Yeah, they did.
But they didn't really make an action. They wanted to sleep on it for a couple of weeks, and I'm back tomorrow. So.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'll go to that. Any other suggestions or updates here? All right. Our next meeting is April 6th, 2026. There a motion to adjourn? So moved. Moved by Hopkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Lancaster. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All
Aye.
opposed, no. Thank you, our remote commissioners, and have a good day, everybody.
But they don't act like it. Yeah.